who judge a man purely because of the colour of their skin demonstrate how unthinking, how backward, how uneducated, how uncultivated, how savage, how degenerate you truly are. When a man thinks that he is justified in taking life just because of colour, they have demonstrated themselves to be the worst kind of human being there is. They're right up there with abortionists. They're right up there with those who slaughter Christians purely because of their religion. But please note, ladies and gentlemen, that when these black Christians were murdered by these ethno-nationalists, we Christians did not try to hijack the tragedy and call it something that it was not. We didn't say that it was CHRISTOPHOBia. We didn't try to play the victim card and say that we Christians were being targeted for our faith. Why? Because we were not. They were targeted because of the colour of their skin. My brothers and sisters murdered purely because they were black. And if that makes me a race traitor, then I'm proud to be one. By contrast, in New Zealand, an ethno-nationalist equally abhorrently, criminally, backwardly and degenerately murdered Muslims purely because of the colour of their skin. But what happened in the media? They mislabeled this crime as Islamophobia. They mislabeled it as a targeted crime against Muslims. Why? Was it because they were telling a truthful narrative of events? No. Anyone who read the manifesto of this backward savage would know that he was motivated by a racial ideology, not by a hatred of religion. There are Christian Arabs. There are Christian Turks. There are Christian Malaysians. There are Christian Indonesians. And he didn't want any of them in the white world. So why then did the media lie to you? Why then did the media portray this heinous crime as something else other than what it was? It is because the media have decided that any opposition to Sharia law or to Islamist supremacism or to Islam as a system of beliefs or values is guilty of a thought crime. And so that is why they mislabeled those events. That is why they lied to you. Because the liberal left are afraid. They are afraid that people have seen Islamist supremacism for what it is, and that they wish to oppose it. Where were these same liberals when Christians were being butchered by Islamist supremacists in Pakistan? Where were these liberals when Christians were being butchered in anti-Christian pogroms in Egypt? When a church of Christians were bombed? Where were these liberals when 120 Christians were murdered in Nigeria on March the 11th of this year? Did you hear about those in the news?
Nothing.
Did you hear about the black Christians killed because they were Christian in Nigeria on the 11th of March? No, you didn't. Why not? Because the media wants to construct a narrative that is a lie, that Islam is a wonderful religion that never does anything bad or stands for anything evil, and that Christians are not persecuted by Muslims because of their faith. And that is why when two mass murders happen at the same time, you don't hear about the black Christians in Nigeria, but you hear about the Islamophobic attack in New Zealand. You have been lied to. What are the Liberals saying? Are they saying that 120 Christian lives in Nigeria are not worthy of the same kind of coverage as the 56 Muslims in in New Zealand? Is it because they are black that they are not worth talking about? Is it because they are poor that they are not worth talking about? Or is it because they were Christians hacked to death by Islamists because they were Christian? Ask yourselves, does the liberal media talk about racism and the evils of racism? Yes, it does. So that's not the reason. Do they talk about the poor and the plight of the poor in the third world? Yes, they do. So that's not the reason. But how many times do you hear about Christians being butchered because they are Christian, like they were on March the 11th this year? You don't. And that's because the media does not want to construct a narrative that Muslim Islamists are persecuting Christians because of their faith. I invite you to wake up, to wake up to the lie that is being brought over your eyes. If you are a Christian, then grow some balls, grow a backbone, stand up for your community, become an activist for the church. Stop being a wimp. Stop letting them walk all over our community. Stand up for your brothers and sisters. In answer to the brother's question,